We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it's Wednesday, but I'm recording it on Tuesday night, and we're doing a TikTok live as we have occasion to do. Thought it appropriate with all the things going on and things people no doubt want to talk about. I want to thank Southside Mike for joining me last night. We had a good conversation. It was his first time on the podcast, and he'll be back. I told him, I said, once you come on, people are going to want you back. And of course, that's what the comment said. So we'll have Mike on again in the future. As soon as he's ready to come back, we'll have him back. There's some things going on in Minneapolis, as you know, with all the influx of ICE all over the city, the violence, the constitutional violations, the murders, those sorts of things. But some things have been kind of changing as of late. There's been a lot of blowback on the administration because of what is going on. The thing about it is that Donald Trump seems to be in a bit of a retreat. Donald Trump came out initially and was blaming Alex Preddy for being a terrorist because he had the occasion of having a fully legal and permitted pew-pew, as they say, on him. And Donald Trump thinks this is a bad idea. Well, not only did the Democrats push back on Donald Trump, but Republicans are now too. Because what Donald Trump basically said was if you have one of these weapons on your person, even though it is legal, you're a terrorist. And that's counteractive to what the NRA would hopefully have you believe. So now Donald Trump is starting to back off a little bit. And Donald Trump sent a little Greggy Bovino packing, sent him back to El Centro, California. Him and his other little munchkins are headed back that way. Apparently, he's going to be taking some ICE agents with him. I don't know how many. The more, the better. He's been pretty much blamed for all that's happened here in Minneapolis. But we know, of course, it's not just Bovino. Bovino's just one of the many that were a problem. The tip of the spear, of course, is Donald Trump. He's the one that instigated all of this stuff. Honestly, he didn't really have any problem with the way Bovino was handling things. He just has a problem with the PR that he's getting out of it. And instead of taking responsibility for himself, he does what he always does, and he throws somebody under the fucking bus. And that's what he did with Bovino. People are thinking that Kristi Noem is next up to be fired. And I'm not so sure about that. I just want to say one thing, too. I was talking to Southside Mike today after doing the show, and he came up with a wonderful nickname for, for Kristi Noem. This is very creative, and you'll probably want to use this at some point. But you know how we use the term Yahtzee and all these other things? He suggests calling Kristi Noem a twatsie. And that somehow fits. That somehow fits perfectly. But what happened was Donald Trump had a meeting with Kristi Noem, the chief of staff, Susie Wiley, some other people. But you know who wasn't in that meeting? Stephen Miller. And we know Stephen Miller is pretty much the architect of all that's going on here. He's the creepy motherfucker that comes up with all this stuff. And so he wasn't involved in the meeting. And then while in the meeting, Kristi Noem says, sure, I messed up and I said he was a terrorist and now I look stupid, but it's because Stephen Miller made me tell them that. It looks like they're getting ready to throw Stephen Miller under the bus. Now that would be interesting. Can you imagine Stephen Miller and Greggy Bovino walking the streets by their lonesome without the protection of the Trump administration? Things could get a little fucking ugly for them, I think. Anyway, we've got some of the regular folks coming up. Actually, I'm not. Let's see here. I'm looking for some of the regular folks. I'm gonna pull somebody up here real quick, okay? If he'll come. I'm not sure if he will or not. Aaron from Go Live Vegas. He's not normally. What the hell's going on here? I'm not getting anybody. Okay. Aaron's not coming up. I'm going to bring up TJ the plumber and Rebecca. How you guys doing? TJ,
Good, Mike. We're all right.
Rebecca, I wanted to give my condolences for your puppy that passed. I know how difficult it is. I've had several dogs and gone through the same thing, and I understand the pain. And we wish you the best while you're dealing with this situation.
Thanks. She lived a great life. She was 13 and a half, and she had a good life. So
That's the important thing. TJ, I was talking a little bit about the retreat of Donald Trump in Minneapolis. Now, a lot of people are calling it a win. I'm not calling it a win yet because no deal that Donald Trump cuts is ever real or
No.
done until it's done. But do you get that same sense that they were a little taken aback by the response, not only of the media and the Republicans and the Democrats, but 70,000 people showing up on the streets? This is not what they were expecting.
No, it backfired on. They picked Minneapolis because they thought it would be an easy target.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't come to Philadelphia or they didn't go to Compton. You know what I mean? So they thought, oh yeah, we can run over Minneapolis easily and, cause the fear and then we'll be in control. Well, it absolutely blew up in their face because they fucked it up so bad that the American public in general is fucking pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely. And Howard Paulson made an interesting point. They haven't left completely yet. And that's absolutely true. We're getting some relief just based on how the administration is reacting. But they're still here and they're still causing some shit. In fact, my wife and I and a friend of ours went out for dinner tonight. And the lady we were with looked over at some tables, and there were four guys dressed kind of like what ICE would be dressed as. And there were some hotels in the area. She goes, I bet that's ICE. I bet that's ICE. And I go, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just a bunch of guys getting together for coffee or whatever. But then we followed them outside because we left about the same time they did. We got 4 or 5 guys getting in one big black pickup truck with Texas plates on it. So I think that's probably was ICE and headed over toward the hotel. And that just pissed me off. They're sitting there, they're doing whatever they're doing. They're probably going there every day so they know some people.
Right.
I saw one guy walk by and talk to them and shake their hand as if he was happy about what they were doing.
Yeah.
This kind of thing pisses me off, the kind of people that are amongst us at this point. It's fucking crazy. It's ridiculous.
It is. It is ridiculous. And all they did is they got rid of Bavino just to try to save some face in the media, which is absolutely not going to work. And you can't take one dumb motherfucker and then put another dumb motherfucker in his place and expect that to be an effective strategy. But I do think that they learned something, that they're not going to be able to roll over the people of Minneapolis the way they thought they could.
Oh, absolutely not. I see we've got somebody up here that had punched up earlier and they didn't come up, but they're here now, and I want to bring them up briefly. It's Aaron from Go Live Vegas. Now, Aaron is kind of an agent between some of the creators and TikTok, a translator, if you will, a mediary. And Aaron, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing? Yeah. You're also in our network.
What's that?
You're also in our network.
I'm also in the network, and one of the advantages to being in the network is if you get in trouble, Aaron can help you out. I know Hawk had some problems recently. I've been fortunate. I don't know why I haven't had trouble.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm so demure and not willing to speak my mind. I don't know what the fuck it is. The reason I brought you up is we know that there were some changes made. And we're going to get back to the politics here. I just wanted to give Aaron a chance to talk just a bit for all those people who might be creators out there. We had the switch over, and I texted you because I had 4 or 5 videos out there and got 0 views. Now, I know that's never happened before, and it's virtually impossible when you have the followers I have. But you explained that there was some kind of updating or whatever.
Yeah, they started the migration of the servers on Friday, and they have a new app they're going to be releasing. So they're trying to work it so it all works together. and it obviously did not happen properly. And then they had a power outage Saturday night at one of their servers in Texas, and that created more chaos. So it's
Yeah.
everything happening at once. So people were having problems posting, even comments. They were having problems posting comments. They were getting banned. They were getting violations. I mean, you name it, it was happening. So, and of course, if you have an agency like us, we can help protect you and your account. But we want you to go live. That's the whole idea. We're a TikTok live agency, so we help monetize you guys and help you try to make money. Of course, by gift giving. Us older gentlemen, or like yourself and myself, it's hard to ask people for money because we just don't do that. But the younger generation, it's huge. That's why they do it, because that's the thing. So, but I understand if you're having a live, you need to pay it somehow, or a podcast or anything like that. So, you got to make it somewhat transactional to survive. So I get that.
Well, yeah, my premise has always been I don't charge my listeners because, putting something behind a paywall makes no sense. I do everything here on TikTok,
Yep.
on Spotify, and all these other locations. I don't really have anything more to put behind a paywall. With my belief in it, I'm not doing this just for the money. I don't have to crack a nut here. But I figure if TikTok is making money off the things I'm doing, or YouTube is making money, I should get my cut. So my question to you,
Right.
Aaron, now that we've made the switch over to the new ownership and all this new shit, and I mean this with all seriousness, how fucked are we as creators?
You know what? We had our meeting yesterday. They were very positive. I don't know yet. I really don't know. Listen. I've been in the business world for. Something just fell over. That was weird. I'm in the business. We have a ghost in here. Holy crap! It's not. That's not ADHD, by the way. We don't have the business world, and as you know, the business world is where if you're buying a company and you take it over, or in this case, I call it a hostile takeover, because that's what
Right.
it is. The first thing you're going to do as a businessman is slash and burn because you don't understand the business. You don't understand the model. So you're going to cut the fat. You're going to do whatever you can to try to save money right off at the back because you just spent $40 billion or whatever they spent. So that's the number one thing. And then you'll try to find a way to, monetize and make the business better for yourself. Me, if I did that, the first thing I would do is, like I said, I would say, okay, you know what? I was paying content creators 50 cents on the dollar. I'm going to pay them 20 for now. At least they got something, but we'll restructure it. So we'll make it seem like it's better and we'll throw some fancy stuff in there to make it look good. I think that's what's going to happen right now, to be honest with
Well,
you.
the thing is, I hope they understand that without creators like me, like Hawk, like some of the younger kids that are creators, without those creators, you got a bunch of AI bullshit, and that's about it. I mean, the product that they're selling here is, in fact, people like us that are the creators. And to
Yep.
marginalize those creators seems kind of short-sighted.
You know what? We're just a number. Really. Unless you have, like even in TikTok right now, if you hit the 10 million mark, you get yourself assigned one person from TikTok that is your contact that will help even make you more powerful in the TikTok realm. They will help you find the deals. They'll help you, they'll manage you. So, I mean, you'll see that where there'll be a creator, maybe they have 16 million followers and she's a dancer and she's dancing with J-Lo. Well, how did that happen? That's because TikTok has they have those people to help make that work. So the branding, the marketing, the monetization, all of that stuff, it just becomes second nature when you get to that level, which is nice. But what about the rest of us? We're the smaller folk.
Yeah, I got roughly 500,000 followers, which took me 5 years to get. So in order for me to get to 10 million, I'll be dead. So it's not going to fucking work out.
You don't know that. You're pretty popular. You speak your mind, I mean, I followed you and I enjoy your what you have to say as a boomer. So You know,
I appreciate
and
that.
you have 500,000 people that do that as well. I mean, I'm sure the comments are going to start flowing here about how much they enjoy your TikToks.
Well, yeah, I get that a lot, and I appreciate that. Especially when I started it, I didn't know that anybody would listen to me at all. So I'm always amazed by what it is. I wanted to bring you on just for a bit to talk about that switchover because I know a lot of people are
Sure.
thinking about it. But to be perfectly honest with you, Aaron, if we keep up this line of talking, I won't get anybody listening to this motherfucker. We got to get to politics, okay?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%. There's a lot going on in this world. And you know what? This is a perfect medium to do it with, especially
Absolutely.
now. And,
Absolutely.
and you know, we can't be suppressed. And I think, well, I don't think I know. Back in September, when the new guidelines came out with TikTok, there was a provision that was sent to us as a private kind of, hey, don't talk about this, but this is why we're doing it. And that was, we are going to appease the Trump administration because we have a deal to make with TikTok and we don't have one. And they could shut us down in 2 seconds. And if you're talking about billions of dollars every year, you know, in making money, you know, you don't want to piss off Donald Trump because he has the power.
Absolutely.
So that's
For
why,
now.
for now,
We're here
But-
to take
well,
that power away, Aaron.
But now we don't have to because now it's sold. So now we can do what we should be able to do is talk about what we want to talk about, just like YouTube. Why can't we go on YouTube and talk about and say the M word or you know talk about what's happening in Minnesota? I mean, to say the word, you know, you have to say pew pew, right? But to say that actual word was getting, I got three accounts banned for saying those words on Monday that I had to try to resurrect, all because they said those words. And that could be a leftover from the TikTok system. So I'm hoping they're going to move in the right direction. They haven't actually said it, but I hope they are. And I hope they're going to let us be free to say what we want, how we want it. You know, obviously keep it under control. We're not going to do like, you know, X-rated stuff, but we want to be able to say what we want to say, what's on our mind, and not be suppressed, not feel like we have to stop and think about what we have to say because we might get kicked off. We want to say it, you know, and it needs to be said.
I tell you what, Aaron, I'm going to let you go, but
Yes.
hopefully they will allow us to do that stuff. But understanding, you probably know, regardless of whether they want to fucking do it or not, I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to speak my mind, and if they cut
Absolutely.
me off, well, what can I do?
Then you
What
call
can I
me
do?
and I'll have to get you on bed.
There you go. Thank you,
Hey,
Aaron.
just
I
before I
appreciate
go,
it.
can I just put a plug out there? I mean, we are a live agency, so we'd love to have anybody join us. Go to our website, golive.vegas. There's a link on there that says join us for free, and it's a free system, by the way. You don't have to pay for anything. We don't take any money from you. We are paid by TikTok, and we want to help you grow your account and monetize on the live. So if you feel like you can and you want to protect your account, please join us at golive.vegas. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to work with you.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Aaron. We'll have you back on in the future, as long as God willing and TikTok willing. But thank you very much, and we'll talk
And
to you
nice
again
to
soon.
meet you, by the way. TJ.
Hi, Aaron.
I saw you there.
Yeah, nice to meet you
Nice to
too.
meet you
Let
too,
me follow
Aaron.
you.
Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
We'll see
guys.
you
See you
later.
later.
All right, now we got to get back to the business at hand, and we got a lot of fucking business to deal with here because there's a lot of bullshit going on. Let me pull up Trucker T. He always has some shit to say. Hey, Trucker T, how you doing? What's on your mind? Tell us what you're thinking about.
Well, you know me, I got a whole page full, so I'm
Sure.
gonna save some. But I'm really upset about this shit that's going on in Minnesota right now with this LARD system they have. Nobody's talking about that LRAD or LAR. whatever.
Lord, that sounds like Donald Trump.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's LRAD, LRAD. But
What is
anyway,
that?
it's a military testing system that gives out a supersonic sound, kind of like what they did over in Venezuela. And I saw them testing it today. And then what it does is very, very piercing. It'll make you throw up, make your ears ring. They use it in crowds to disperse crowds.
Really?
Yeah. And I saw the video today and I was just disgusted when I seen it.
That's really disturbing because some of those frequencies can like really
Yes.
mess with your freaking
But
Yeah.
brain.
that's not supposed to be over here.
There's some there's some there's some diplomats that got hit with that somewhere. I forget where I was reading it, but they have traumatic brain injury from it.
Yeah. And I saw him today, and I checked it and checked it. It wasn't AI. It was the actual video of them testing out the system.
That's incredible.
That would have to
disturbing.
sound like it's illegal. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, you can't pinpoint who you're hurting with that. If you're in an area with a lot of people are going to get hurt. If in fact that's what it does.
Yeah, and they gave the warning. You know, they always give 3 warnings, right? When we throw gas, and they said, hey, here's your warning. We're testing out this new system, and they said it 3 times, and let that bitch go. And it was bad. I did not like it. And I don't like it.
Wow.
That was one of them.
Right.
And then right after I saw that video, I saw a little glimmer of hope with Tom Tillis and Lisa Merkel, I think her name is, from Alaska, who was saying, oh yeah, somebody at the bottom said LRAT isn't new. Well, I know it's not new. They just never used it here. But anyway, Tom Tillis and Lisa are upset with Christy Gnomes, and they're talking about possibly getting rid of her. So I was happy about that.
Well, Donald Trump is saying though that doesn't want her to resign. He's standing behind her. So it may have to be an impeachment before they get rid of this stupid bitch.
Probably. Yeah. Well, depends on who wins that fight between her and Miller, right? I mean, if she can whoop his little ass, then maybe she'll stay.
Well, yeah, she's that's an interesting thing though. This story I'm hearing about how they had this big meeting and Stephen Miller wasn't allowed in. And then Kristi Noem was basically saying, the only reason I said what I said about him being a terrorist is because Stephen Miller told me to do it. You know, they're always looking for somebody to throw under the bus. And it would surprise me if it's Stephen Miller, but that would be interesting.
Yeah,
if
very.
they throw him under the bus and make him the GOAT.
Yeah. Did you hear about that thing? Another thing in Minnesota. Minnesota is like the fucking hot button, but ICE tried to get into the Ecuadorian national place, the conduit or whatever over there. Did you see that video?
I did not.
Yeah, they tried to go in the building, and they were like, "Hey, whoa, you can't come in here." So 2 guys ran to the door, locked the door. I reposted the video, but yeah, that's like a international incident.
You can't go into a diplomat's premises. That's their sovereign territory.
You can't do it, TJ.
That's an international law violation.
Well, here's the thing. You know, this guy is pushing the limits, right? He's trying to see what he can get away with. Just like Mike was talking about earlier, right? Taking freaking ICE agents over to fucking Italy for what? Right? They don't belong over there. And the Italian said, we don't want them murderous thugs over here.
I would think they just kick him out of the country. They have every right. I mean, see, this is the problem with ICE and Donald Trump. They're violent and they're vicious, but they're also incredibly stupid. I mean, they're constantly doing things that they're not going to be able to get away with. That's why the judge just recently said, I want the leader of ICE in this court because you constantly ignore court orders. I mean, Donald Trump only has so much power, and Donald Trump's only going to be around for so much longer. These people are going to have to pay a price for this. I'm looking, I said I was in a restaurant today, and it looked like there was 4 or 5 ICE guys just sitting there eating dinner or whatever, and they weren't wearing their uniforms. But when you get 4 or 5 young guys who show up in a pickup truck with Texas plates, it's kind of telling. And I'm thinking, if I was your father, I'd grab you by the ear and say, do you understand what's going to fucking happen when this is all done? I don't care how much money they're paying you. They're going to put your sorry ass in jail. And I don't think they get it. They're just too stupid.
They are stupid. This whole thing is just dumb. Did you hear about the guy in Arizona?
I did. I don't know the details. What do you know about that?
He's critically injured. There was a shooting, a pew-pewing. They got something weird going on down there with a couple of bars that they're raiding. For some reason, they had the employees stay in there for like 10 hours or so, tell them they couldn't leave. Um,
Really.
but there's so many different pockets. It's hard to keep up with all this shit. I swear, it drives me insane.
It really is difficult. And that's uh, what I was just trying to explain to people about Donald Trump. Donald Trump has one strategy in his life, and that's being a bully. He's not very substantive. He doesn't really know much, but he knows if he can be a bully and people give in and back down, he wins. The only time he has trouble is when people push back. He was going to go invade Greenland, and then he went over to Europe and they said, listen, motherfucker, here's the deal. We're going to sell your treasury bonds. We're going to close your military installations, and we're going to stop buying from you, and your country economically is going to crash. Then he comes back here and he says, yeah, maybe I won't do that. He got pushback and he backed off. Minneapolis, he came in here with the full intent of scaring not only this city, but every other city by being very aggressive here and doing the things, kicking in doors and killing people on the streets and kidnapping 5-year-old kids. And he thought he was going to scare Minnesota. And I got to say, I'm very proud of my state of Minnesota because they weren't scared. I mean, some people are scared here, but when you have 3,000 agents here in town and 70,000 people show up in 10 below weather, these people aren't fucking around. And I think Donald Trump, the administration, and everybody else took notice of this and said, whoa, what the fuck? This is a problem. We're getting bad press. We're getting the world coming after us. And that's why they're starting to back up a little bit. It's not over. It's not close to over yet, but at least we're headed the right direction.
Yeah, he said today that Bovino is the kind of guy who likes to be out in front. He said sometimes too much out in front. He said so we're going to. He said, like in a business, you reassess your business and you make different choices and changes. So technically, we're just making a change, and we'll tamp it down for now. That's what he said today. So we'll see how that works.
Well, and he also said something about Bovino. He said, well, he's kind of out there.
Yeah,
Well, you must have known that before you put him in the position. See, that's the thing. He wasn't against anything Bovino did. He wasn't against anybody being killed on the streets. It wasn't until it got blowback on him and the press was bad for him and it was affecting potential elections. And now he's got to say, well, it wasn't me, so it was Bovino. And he's thinking that by giving Bovino the blame, that's going to cool everything down.
not even close.
Two innocent people in Minneapolis are no more. That's not going to go away. This is going to be talked about for years and years, and they're going to expect accountability. Now Donald Trump says, we're going to do an investigation. Who believes a pathological liar that they're going to do an investigation? They're not.
Well, the investigation is going to be done by them, the Department of Homeland Security. So, I believe that bullshit, right?
Yeah, you can't see that. And that's the thing is, even if you have an investigation, then they got to run it through the DOJ that is run by Pam Bondi, who's covering everything up. And she's a puppet to Donald Trump. So the idea that we're going to get any kind of justice out of this is ridiculous. The only hope we have is that the state of Minnesota continues their investigation. And if we have to wait it out, we have to wait it out. But as the AG here, Ellison said, there is no statute of limitation on murder. So the two murders, actually maybe three, because I don't know if you heard this, in the last murder on the streets of South Minneapolis, there were two shooters, not just one.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see it in the video that the pink coat lady had. You can actually see
Right.
both of them doing that. I'm glad you mentioned that because here's what I think the downfall of him is going to be his big mouth, and we all know that, right? Today
It
he got
always
on.
is.
Yeah, today he was out there talking about you just can't have them. You just can't have them. You can't have them around federal agents. He's talking about pew-pews. And and the second and before you know it, every gun enthusiast on X was out there. Even the big boys were saying, "Whoa, wait, whoa, big fella, slow down." So this is like the
Yeah.
second or third time he's mentioned taking those away. So this might be the straw for them, the Second Amendment.
Well, and this is proof that he doesn't think about what he's saying. He just spews whatever's in his head, and he tries to contradict whatever anybody's arguing with him with. So the only thing he can come up with, yeah, but he had a weapon. If he had a weapon, then he must be a criminal.
Right.
That's exactly the opposite of what the NRA or any of these other organizations or anybody that has a permit wants to hear. Because everybody talks about Biden and Obama. They're coming to take your weapons. They're coming to take your weapons. But they didn't. In fact, during Obama's 8 years, there were more weapons sold than ever before. What Donald Trump said is tantamount to taking people's weapons by
Yes.
saying that if you have a permitted legal weapon on your person, you're a terrorist and you are entitled to be unalived by
Yep.
authorities by virtue of you having that weapon. So this has got to trouble a lot of people out there that believe in the Second Amendment and believe that means they can have money. Go ahead, TJ.
For 30 years, I had to listen to these dumb fucks say, the Democrats are going to take your guns. Obama, the gun grabber. They keep repeating this fucking thing over and over. But you know what the funny thing is the person who fucking said it more than once is Donald Trump.
Well, yeah.
He's the motherfucker that said it. And the NRA is shitting their pants right now. They're shitting their pants. They came out and they spoke out against it. Even that fucking loser, Kyle Rittenhouse, fucking came out against them saying that shit. And that's fucking disgusting in itself because he's a fucking murderer. But hey, they've been saying the Democrats are going to take your guns. They're the only ones that are proposing to take people's guns away.
Well, there was a time way back when, maybe before he was president, or maybe it was his first term, when they were talking about some problems. And Donald Trump said, well, the first thing we have to do is take away their weapons. And
take the guns
and tell that.
Yeah, take the guns and due process second. Bullshit.
Yep. Well, that's what he said. Now, people told Trump-a-fucks this over and over again. Well, that's not what he meant. Well, today, what you heard today and yesterday and the day before, you now know that's exactly what he meant. How you like Donald Trump now?
Right. That's exactly my point.
She asked him. She said, "What about the Second Amendment?" And his words were, "You just can't do it."
Do they think he means like go take away guns via the voter registration?
Well,
yeah.
Rain Doug SK said, "Oh, what is going on?"
Yeah. TJ got kicked again, and I'll tell you why he got kicked. He said the G word a couple of times. I think he can come back in 10 minutes, so we'll see, or he'll hop on with Rebecca or whatever. But this is the problem with Donald Trump, and I've always said Donald Trump will always fuck up. He will always fuck up. He'll always say something that implicates himself or makes him look stupid. He'll embarrass himself or embarrass the Republican Party or embarrass the whole country. TJ, do you think, or TJ, Trucker, do you think those comments and the concerns by the weapons owners that is going to have a significant impact, or will they just let that slide?
I don't think they're going to let it slide, Mike. And I'll tell you why, because he said it too far and frequent. And they say you have to take him at his word. So he said, and today he was very stern. She asked him, "What about this?" She said, "Sir, what about the Second Amendment?" And he said, "You just can't do it." So if they don't trust, let me rephrase that. If they don't believe he's saying it now, they never will. It'll just happen, and everybody be in an uproar.
They never believe it applies to them, so it doesn't matter because they never believe it applies to them.
Well, because I was on a live last night, and we were talking about this. Like, remember Dylan Roof when he went to that church down south and did some awful things? Well, when he left, they took him to Burger King to get a cheeseburger, right? So that's what people think. But now they're saying people like I don't even want to say his name because I might get taken down. The guy in Minnesota getting run down in the street. It's different now.
Yeah.
So they absolutely will take them. Well, he keeps saying it, so something's going to happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm going to pull somebody else up here, see what they have to say if they pop up. This is one of the things, Aaron, I invite people on after they've asked to come on, and it either takes a while or they don't show up. Patrick is with us, though. Thank you for coming on. It was a little slower getting you up this time, but Patrick, what's on your mind?
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well,
Good.
in spite of it all.
I'm just frustrated with the whole Minnesota situation, as everyone else is, and disgusted by how our administration is lying about it. And I guess it's just wearing on me.
You know, that's the one thing I've noticed from a lot of people. You know, I'm able to keep maybe it's because I get to come out here every day for a long time and spew what my irritations are. But I'm running into a lot of people that are just so angry right now. And they don't necessarily have anything directly involved with it. They aren't immigrants. They're just normal people that are just living their daily life, and they're seeing what's going on. They can't believe what's happening, and they're just so frustrated. And they're more mad than they are scared at this point.
Well, I'm going to protests in my local communities,
Mhm.
even in the freezing snow and the rain and the freezing cold. I'm still going with my mom actually, and
Wow.
yeah, she's 84 years old and she can't stand it either. And so I actually go there to kind of protect her. Um, but I don't know what more I can do, and I want to do more, but I don't know what else to do. And
What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Okay. People ask that question all the time. What can I do? I can't do much. Everybody has different levels of what they can do. Like people say, are you going out to the protest today? And I'm going, no, I don't. I don't really do protest. They say, well, you really should. And I say, well, I'm here doing 10, 12 TikToks a day. I do an hour and a half podcast every day. I'm trying to reach as many people as I can. I'm not protesting on the street, but I'm doing my own protest my own way. And not everybody can do big things, and they shouldn't have to worry about that. You know, I think a lot of people come up and they think I got to take the whole thing on my shoulders and fix this. And that's just not possible. So the only thing you can do is whatever you can do, you know, whether it's talking to your neighbors or, uh, sending out emails or whatever. It doesn't matter if you think it's a small amount, it's still an effort that you're making, and it's worth doing, because if everybody made an effort, then we would have a big result.
Well, I think that's where we're at right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, your mother is 84 years old. She's about the same age my mother would be if she was alive. She's gone through a lot of things. She's gone through the 40s, 50s, 60s. Um, does she feel like this is the worst time of all those times she's gone
Yeah.
through over the years? Because the
Well,
60s were rough too.
I live with her because she needs my help for shoveling and cooking and cleaning and what have you. So I do live with her. We watch the news,
Right.
and it's hard to watch the news. And sometimes I even tell her, I'm like, Mom, we should watch Family Feud or something on
Right.
Netflix or something, because it does get exhausting after a while. But to her credit, she went out on Saturday and literally single degree digits, and we protested for about 2 hours out there. That's all
Wow.
she could handle. And luckily we live in a blue state, so there was
Right.
no real pushback at all. But I think that to answer your question, I do think that this is the worst time for her.
Okay.
Right before she, I hate to say it, but within 10 years passing away, to have her deal with this and her to think about her grandkids, is very difficult
Yeah.
for her and me.
That is the big thing for me, and I think for her and other people is, as old people, 65 years old, I'm probably going to be okay regardless of what goes on here. But I have kids and grandkids, and I feel an obligation to do whatever I can in order to make things a little easier, at least normal for my kids and grandkids after I'm long dead.
Well, I remember when my son was born. He was born in in March of 2001, which was
Hmm.
about 6 months before 2009 9/11 happened. And I remember thinking to myself, what kind of world did I bring my child into?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and now I'm thinking that maybe my parents are having the same thought.
Yeah. The thing about it is we're all fighting out here. We're talking about this every day. We're going out and protest. There has to be some point where we're allowed to live our lives, to enjoy things, whether it be family, friends, going out, traveling, whatever. And I think a lot of people are being deprived of that now because they feel like they've got to be on top of this all day, every day. And that's what I think I'm looking at forward to the most is when you don't have to think about stuff like this every day and
Right.
you can do stuff that you just enjoy. And I feel bad for your mom being 84, on the downside of life. It would be nice for her to be able to relax and enjoy life as she's in her later years. And obviously, she doesn't feel like she can do that because of the conditions we're dealing with right now.
I mean, isn't that true for a lot of people?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people take it to heart. Like I say, I've talked to a lot of people recently. I handle things differently. I compartmentalize. I'm fine. I don't get too worked up about things. But there are people really distraught about what's going on here. People that you
Mhm.
wouldn't expect. They just are having trouble dealing with it. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and the Trump administration are doing to this country that people forget about because of all the other egregious things. They're making people's quality of life worse every day. They're causing people not to live the life that they're maybe entitled to or want to live. And that has to be recognized too, because for fuck's sake, if somebody goes out on a weekend and wants to have fun, and then we hear something like what would happen with Alex Preddy, how the fuck do you have fun on a weekend?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this too. For you to be able to compartmentalize this is a gift because
Mm,
most people can't. For you to be
I
able
know.
to, for you to be able to say, okay, this is my work life, this is my social life, this is my political life, or what have you. A
Right.
lot of people can't do that, and that makes it hard for people because it melds together. Like when you see people getting shot dead in the street multiple times in a couple of weeks, and then to have to go to work and to have to be able to take care of your kids, it's not easy to do that.
You
If
want to
if
you
you
want to
can't
hear the ironic
compartmentalize
thing?
that.
You want to hear the ironic thing about that, Patrick, is the reason I can compartmentalize and deal with things the way I do is because I happen to have a father who was a narcissist and
Mm.
reminiscent of Donald Trump, or Donald Trump was
Well, I had a
reminiscent of
wife that
him.
was like that too, so I get you.
So I lived with it for 23 years while I lived at home, and I learned you either compartmentalize or you don't survive. So that's something I learned along the way. And while it's helping me now, I wish I hadn't learned that capability because it wasn't fun. And this is why Donald Trump upsets me from the beginning, is because I recognize so many things in him that I recognized in my father, and I know how it goes, and I also know how it ends. That's why I feel confident that we're getting close to the end here.
I agree. I told you, I was married to a narcissist for 20 years, and
Yeah.
I would call her the female Donald Trump. You know,
Oh, she loved that, I bet.
well, I said that after the fact, but it's the truth.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a manipulator, um, making people believe you because they hate the other person. You know, it's just terrible stuff. You know, it is.
Yeah. It's a miserable life. I would hate to be one of those folks because life seems to be miserable all the time when they constantly play the victim.
Yeah.
Patrick, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get some other people up here. Patrick, thank you for coming
I
on,
appreciate
and
I
please
appreciate
come
you
on again.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, brother.
You know what's interesting, Rebecca and Trucker T, is that I once heard that the ailment of being a narcissist was a rare occurrence in this country. And I beg to differ because I talk to a lot of people who have dealt with narcissism in their life. I don't know if there's been an uptick of narcissists in this country or just people are finally noticing or recognizing it. But almost everybody I talk to has dealt with somebody like that, and all the stories are horrific.
I lived with one for almost 10 years.
There you go.
I just think it's more prominent now than it was. Speaking of that, did you see the? And I've got to double and triple check this, but the Arizona, what do you call her? The Todd Blanche of Arizona. She,
Oh, yeah. I don't know his name.
well, it's a lady. She came out and said that
Oh,
it is perfectly legal for people to have pew-pews in Arizona and aim them at a certain group. And she said they will be well justified in doing so. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, why would you want to put that out there? You know what I mean?
I have no
That's
idea. I'm going to pull
awesome.
somebody up we all know. No doubt he has some insights here. Analytical Iowan. Eric, how you doing? What's up with you? What are you thinking about?
Doing pretty good. Was reading some news articles and stuff about Donnie being here in Iowa.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I hear you
not
got food
happy about
too.
him being here, but you know,
Well, I heard he went to Iowa and he was telling everybody how great the economy was, how hot the country was, and how he's brilliant and how he brought everything back. And apparently, people in the audience saw it differently.
yeah, I haven't seen much from his actual speech. I saw him go into a restaurant here and get met with cheers but he was saying some dumb shit. Like he was asked about the weaker dollar because now the dollar is trending down compared to other
Yeah,
currencies because of him. And he says it's a
right.
good thing. He says it's great. It's a good thing. It's what he wants to see.
Sure.
Well, it's going to
Wow.
help out certain industries, sure, when they go to sell their products abroad, but it makes everything coming in even more expensive. It's going to end up
Right.
being inflationary. And he doesn't even realize it or doesn't care because he's just going to say, well, there's no inflation. It's down.
You know, since he's in Iowa, I don't know if he still is, but if he is still in Iowa, I'd like to make an invitation to him. If you just hop on 35W and go north and go about 3-4 hours, depending on where he was, about 4 or 5 hours actually. I think he was. I can't.
It's
Davenport. I
basically
think he
avoid.
was in. At least 4 hours. If he goes north into Minneapolis, I bet there's a lot of motherfuckers in Minneapolis that would love to see him tonight.
I guarantee you he'd never make that trip.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. But I would love to see him come up here and maybe have 70,000 people in the street and have him try to reach out to them and convince them that everything's beautiful and he's a fucking genius. He might have some problems with that.
More than a few, I would think. Like he tried saying when he talked about Greg Bovino being moved around, he was talking, I think it was when he was at the restaurant here. He said, well, we're just moving people around. You're making changes like you do, when you bring in your crops. And if they're not doing the crops, or when you're doing your crops is what he said, and they're not doing the crops fast enough, you move people around. What does he mean? As somebody, I didn't grow up on a farm, but I've got farmers in the family. There's not much you can do with crops. You plant them, the machines only go so fast, and then you got to wait for nature to take its course, and then you can only harvest them so fast.
Yeah, although he probably thinks you can just sprinkle fairy dust on them.
Or move the faster people to the front of the line.
Yeah, he just makes shit up as he goes, and he looks foolish every time. And you would think after looking dumb a couple hundred times, you might want to change up your strategy, but he just he just keeps doing it. You know, these you're in Iowa. He's getting cheers from some people, boos from other people. I got to believe there's farmers there that have soybeans that still haven't been sold, and they don't know how they're going to pay their bills. I can't imagine they're happy about what the fuck is going on currently.
No, they can't be happy. I mean, we've got, just like other creators have talked about, there are farmers here in Iowa that plant based on, contracts. And China cut all those contracts. So now they don't know how they're gonna sell it. And then you have the USAID, the foreign aid arm of the government, getting cut. He did that last year, and all of those had guaranteed contracts, and now those got screwed over. And he's got no solution except for a bailout that maybe or maybe not happen. Haven't actually heard the money going out to farmers yet. They've talked about it,
Yeah.
but even that was a drop in the bucket compared to what he's cost them.
Well, I heard him say today that he raised 600 billion in tariffs, and that he's given the farmers 12 billion, and they love him for that. Is that true?
But the farmers
12
needed
billion
40 to 50 billion to be whole. So a lot of farmers can't be happy.
12 billion was the number they discussed in the meeting, and a meeting he fell asleep in, by the way.
Wow.
Because I remember this one because his agriculture secretary Rollins was talking, and he kind of jolted himself awake and just kind of throws out 12 billion, because he knew that was on the front of his mind. Like, he woke up, knew that was the number they were talking about, and that was several months ago. But he fell
Yeah.
asleep in the meeting. And I saw an interview where he said the reason he falls asleep in these things is because they're boring.
Oh,
I should say TJ's back off of his timeout. And TJ, let me give you a warning up front. You either straighten the fuck up or you're going to get Bavinoed and sent to El Centro, California. Just understand that, motherfucker.
oh, TJ.
TJ is not talking. He's probably wise based on your history with TikTok lives. All right, I'm going to bring up what WTF. It's JoJo. Hey JoJo, how you doing? What's up?
Hey gang, how you all?
I'm doing all right. Could be worse.
Yeah, we were having a discussion the other night too about what's been going on. To refer to the conversation at that John Deere sponsored little rally thing they did, somebody from the crowd, I don't know what their position was, tried to correct Trump by saying, no, it wasn't 12, it was 60 altogether.
Yeah.
Altogether from what? Well,
Yeah.
when did they get the other 48 that we don't know about?
That's a good question. That's a
Right?
good question.
And not a person, and there was press there. No one said, can you clarify what the other 48 represents? Like, when did the farmers get that? And nothing, not a peep out of them.
Did you see in that speech he gave, he was getting some boos and it was starting to shake
Yes,
Donald Trump up a little bit?
yes,
And he started saying, these people are paid instigators. They're sickos.
yep,
Way to hold a crowd by calling them all fucking sickos.
yep. Well, I mean, did you see the average age of the people attending that damn rally? God almighty, no offense, but it was, it was boomers,
Yeah.
conservative, old fucks with their old fuck wives just sitting there cheering every fart and belch and sound that came out of that big bloated piece of crap, like his words were made from gold itself. He babbled on, and one journalist did try to ask a serious question about the recent, what's just happening. I don't want to say the words, right? And he just blew right over her. And then as he was degrading her and saying that she represents the fake news, the men that were there, journalists, were just talking over her. Like they just barreled
Yeah.
over her to like just drop themselves at the feet to lick his boots and tell him, "Oh yes, our Swami, tell us more." He's like, it's a shit show every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's hard to take these people seriously because they've seen what we've seen, they've heard what we've heard, and they've gone through what we've gone through, and somehow they still are followers of Donald Trump. And people have said to me, "Well, we're going to have to forgive him when this is all said and done." How can I forgive dumb fucks like this?
No.
I can't trust them to not
No.
jump on some other clown's bandwagon. These people went out of their way to hurt this country, our kids and our grandchildren.
And they're still doing it.
Irredeemable at this point. Yeah, they still are.
They're still doing it. They're showing up at their rally. They're cheering him, telling him he's the best president ever. We love. How many people want to take pictures with him? He was taking photos, and he just loved the attention. Like once the talking stopped, and then he was like socializing and mulling around in this. I don't know what it was. It looked like some kind of farmer restaurant or some shit, like a Cracker Barrel on steroids. And they were swooning over him, like literally.
Yeah.
They were dropping. If they could have, got down on their knees and prayed at his feet, they would have. It was sickening to watch, and he's becoming incredibly harder to even listen to.
Yeah, he really is.
And
really
he never
is.
took his coat off the whole time. I want to tell you that's an interesting observation. He had his outerwear coat on the entire time because that man couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there because those are not his people. Those are not his people. And I was surprised that he was being as tolerant and polite as he was toward the end, maybe because he took a nap earlier, so he felt refreshed. Because he took pictures with all these people and he was, shaking hands and patting them on the back and kissing babies, the whole bullshit. None of them had babies. They were all too old.
Or maybe he's hiding an IV port.
Yeah, or whatever he
Could
was
be.
doing. But, I was surprised that he held on as long as he did. And then he broke into another little speech at the end there. I can't even recall what he said. But
Well,
the second thing I
Do you know
wanted,
why?
go ahead.
Do you know why he was in Iowa? Do you know why he was in Iowa? The reason he was in Iowa is because he's underwater in terms of approval
Support,
for his
yeah.
economics. It's like 20% or under 20% that people
Yeah.
think he's doing a good job. So what he's doing, he's going out to at least some of the red states like Iowa, trying to convince people that what they're feeling and what it's costing them isn't true. That what he's saying is that everything's wonderful, prices are going down, inflation is non-existent. He's trying to go out and gaslight people to get them to believe something that
I
they're
have to-
dealing with every fucking day.
Well, I have to interrupt you there by saying he wasn't trying to gaslight these people. They were literally fully engulfed in the cult. What he's doing is
Really?
by going to the places where he knows he's beloved and these fools are still supporting the lies that he's telling because they could see it on paper, but they were still telling him what a phenomenal president he's been, what an amazing businessman he is. All the bullshit. They believed every word of it. What was coming out of their own mouths, and he wanted that as his publicity to show everybody else, look at who loves me, look who thinks I'm doing a great job. He didn't have to convince them. He's trying to convince other people by going to only places that think he's still doing a good job in spite of whatever they're suffering from, whatever they're dealing with. You had to see their faces. These people were grinning from ear to ear. There wasn't a concerned face in the crowd. I forced myself to watch it on two phones from two different, two different vantage points from two different stations. PBS was one, I think, and I'm not sure it was CBS was the other one. So I could get a better feel of the room. These people they were not being force fed anything. They believe it wholeheartedly. He was using them to convince all the rest of us that what he's saying is true and they support him. And that goes back to something someone said in the comments, and the woman, was it a woman or a man that was just up? that said about the narcissistic traits. Narcissism is not a new thing. It is not being increased. This is similar to what happened during the 80s when they started to record domestic violence situations separately from other crimes. And it spiked way up and everybody lost their minds. And what that really represented was now it was being categorized and it had a name, right? That's what's happening with the narcissistic identification of people suffering from that personality disorder, which starts in childhood, by the way, can show itself as early as preteen, but it really climaxes in young adulthood because they've got from preteen till young adulthood to master the manipulations they learn from coming from a dysfunctional family. Now, partially it can be genetic, but this is one of those nurture nature arguments that nurture has a lot more to do with becoming a narcissist than the actual nature part of it.
I
The
completely agree with
environment
that.
teaches them to become manipulators. So to go all the way back to the early part of this last century, that was what that movie that people like to throw this word around when they don't even really know how to functionally apply it. But when you say someone's gaslighting you, that's what they're talking about. That's what narcissists do. A black and white movie made in the 20s was called Gaslight. And it's exactly what it was. It was about being manipulated by, I'm not going to tell you the story. People should go watch it. A husband about, his wife, and that's all I'm going to say. And basically using a gas light, because they didn't have electricity then, to fool this person into believing what was happening and not believe what they were being told and not what was happening to them. And over time, that's why so when you say you're gaslighting someone, that's what that means. So it's not a new phenomenon. It's been around as long as time. It's identified now. People have learned what the word means. They learned the psychological definition. You can look it up, and people are overusing it like they typically do with pop psychology, right? They learn something for a little while. It gets overused. People are misidentifying other behaviors that are in the same category or worse as being a narcissist. Believe it or not, there are some nice narcissists, and I won't get into how that's possible, but there are some people that just typically would be, you'd think of them normally, you'd say they're just a selfish person, but they're not mean, right? They're still a narcissist because they come first at all costs, but they may not be cruel about it. Donald Trump represents the most cruelest definition of a narcissist. He is on the far, far end of the scale.
Absolutely. Well, Jojo, thanks for coming on. I'm going to try to get a bunch of people on here.
You got
as
it.
many as we can. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for coming on. You're welcome anytime, of course.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jojo. Always good to hear from Jojo. I'm going to try to get a bunch of people on here. We've got some people we know. Let's see here.
With the restaurant,
go ahead.
I think the reason it was so full of nothing but Trump supporters, and I did a TikTok on it, I think it was all people that his team put together, that they got it full of nothing but either diehard loyalists or paid enthusiasts.
Yep.
Because remember,
I
every
agree.
accusation is a confession. They talk about paid agitators. It wouldn't surprise me if they're paying people. Because remember, he went out to eat at, what was it? Was it in New York or was it in Washington? And he met with some protesters there, and it was a big thing because he was taken aback by people not liking him. I think they wanted to make sure he only had people and interactions that were positive because they didn't want to deal with the fallout of him being confronted by people not liking him.
Yeah, it was New York City.
That goes
You know,
that goes without saying. That's a long time RNC strategy. They've been doing that for a while because Donald Trump is wildly unpopular.
Well, not for nothing, but if Antifa's paying all the protesters that on our side, they obviously have way more money than Donald Trump does.
I got my George Soros check today, man.
Yeah, there you go. We got somebody else with us, Kathleen.
Yeah, what I was going to
Kathleen,
say
are you
is,
here?
yeah, I'm here. I tuned in halfway through, but I looked at it with a little different eyes. And I have to I agree with what you just said before. that I think they were more paid than anything else. Because if you really watch the people behind him, especially the lady with the black hair, they were not having it. And I think I put it in the comments. There were no women for Trump signs, no blacks for Trump signs. These were just either paid people, but you could if you watch their faces while he was talking, it wasn't like when you use he would just spew nonsense and they'd be on board. It was like they waited till the appropriate time to clap this time. So I just wanted to say that I just saw it very differently, like they were paid or something this time.
Well, we know he's done that many times before with past rallies. The recent rallies he's done have been poorly attended, but he always has the adamant people screaming and yelling. And we know for a fact there's been proof that he has paid people. And I think the proof is when he said there are paid agitators there, he's horrible at projection. So what that was
He also
probably
know how to
meaning
pipe
is
in
that he paid
sound. They've done it before.
pipe in sound.
Yeah, in other words, like especially for
cheers?
those that are watching, like
Make-
overlay, so it sounds
Yeah.
like there's
Make the crowd
more
sound larger than they are.
exactly.
Like there's a studio audience when there really isn't.
It was the first time I
A
had a little
laugh
bit of
track.
hope today.
It's an overdub.
Yeah, overdub. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for your point, Kathleen. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to run through a lot of people very quickly, but
Yep,
you're
so
more
you
than
can
welcome
drop
to
me
come
if you
back
want. I just
anytime.
wanted to say that.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
letting me
much.
out.
It's
No
probably
problem.
the same
Thanks
200
for-
people that have been at every one of his rallies before he became president again.
Well, I've often said that it seems like it's like the Grateful Dead with Donald Trump. Everybody's traveling around and everybody's selling fucking merch for fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
it's all the people that don't have actual jobs and they just follow him around.
I like how they always strategically place the black guy behind him. You ever see that?
Right behind
Yeah,
him.
Yeah, behind him.
It's such a
Yeah.
fucking
Just in case somebody takes another pot shot at him.
yeah.
I think
No
didn't
kidding.
somebody say they pay him $50? That's it.
Wow. You're gonna have to pay me more than that to sit in the fucking cold and listen to that dipshit.
Listen.
I've got C. Nikita with us now. Go ahead, TJ.
Hello.
I lived in the
Nice to
hu-
meet you. I watch your lives or your streaming all the time, and I love them. My
Well, thank you, C. Nikita.
my name is Carol, and I just want to say that one thing that got me through the whole thing. I live in Wisconsin. It's a state that's north of me. He was doing a speech about it, and this how in love he is with himself is just unbelievable. As he said that he said it was a tragedy about Mrs. Good, and he found out that her father was a Trump lover, and he hoped that he still loves him. I mean, who would possibly say that and ask? That's just appalling.
You know what's even more appalling than that, Carolyn?
What's
Is
that?
that they talked to her uncle, who's also a Trump supporter.
Yes, sir.
And he said, "Well, I'm sad to see my niece go, but clearly she wasn't walking on the right side of the Lord."
Oh
Meaning
my
she was a
goodness.
lesbian. I mean, can you imagine that? Yeah, my niece got killed, but
She deserved it.
basically that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Basically,
I mean,
what kind of sick
it's
fuck
just
is that?
appalling that people would. Why aren't people allowed to be who they are? And be a Christian. You're allowed to be a Christian. You're allowed to be forgiven. You're allowed to do it's free will. Your love for the Lord is your love for the Lord. And I don't want to get into that, but just how gruesome he is on even saying that, and his uncle. I hope they're still Trump lovers. I can't imagine somebody in my family getting, pew-pewed or anything happened, and somebody in my family, saying something horrible about them when it's such a loss.
It's amazing that people can still do this, and that's why I say it's got to be a mental illness. I mean, there's no other way
It
to
definitely
explain it.
is. There's, from day one that he's been in here, day one, chaos every single day on everything. You don't know what you're going to wake up to the next morning. We're talking Greenland. He's fighting with the world. He's fighting with our people. He's killing our people. He's just, it's so bad. Do you think we're going to win the midterms?
Yes,
I
yes,
think
I
we
do.
are too. I think we are too.
We'll
I
find our
hope.
way out of this. I just didn't think it'd take this long, but we'll find our way out of this ultimately.
But do you think we're
Donald
going
Trump
to
is
win the
losing right now.
House and the Senate?
I kind of do, yeah, I do. I
I
know we're
hope
going to win
so.
the House. People argue with me about the Senate, but I think things are so bad for Republicans right now, they're going to be hard pressed to mount much competition. People are just going to be so sick a year from now. Think about this. We're already a year in and how bad it is. If things continue the way it's going, how bad is it going to be a year from now? It's going to
Right.
be even worse. And the Republicans are going to have a whole hell of a lot of trouble. And they're going to realize between now and 2026, boy, we should have jumped off this fucking boat a long time ago. But
Yes,
it's too
sir.
late for them now.
I mean, prices are just so. I went to the grocery store yesterday and spent $300, and I didn't get 4 bags of groceries. Steaks
Yeah.
in Walmart, 3 steaks were $72.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty
$72, and that's not a lie, for 3 steaks.
Yeah,
I
no,
was like,
I
of course I didn't buy them. Of course, how can you buy them? I haven't had a steak forever. I can't believe the prices and what is going on, and the tariffs and the soybeans, the everything. And do you know that you can just get beat up for even saying anything?
Well, Carolyn, I'll beg to differ with you that because I've been saying shit for 5 years and nobody's come. Everybody says, "Be careful, Mike." Nobody's come. Nobody's threatened me. Nobody's come after me. They don't want to deal with somebody who's going to get back in their face. It's what they're going for, Carolyn, is fear.
Yes.
And if you give them fear, you give them the win. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not afraid of you motherfuckers. Shut up. You don't scare me. You don't worry me. Your time is short now. And when it's over, don't expect us to let up on the gas because we're going to chase you around until we get you to go
Amen.
back under the
Thank
rocks
you.
you came from.
Amen. Thank you.
All right.
I just want to thank you for all your posts and keeping everybody engaged in what's going on. And I really love your feeds and everything that you do for us. I really do.
Well, I appreciate that, Carolyn. And I like to tell people I can sit here and spout all day, but if there's nobody listening, it really doesn't do any good. So I thank you for giving me your attention whenever you do. That's much appreciated. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you go live. And actually, this is the first time I've seen you live, but I'm glad you brought me up and I appreciate it. Everyone, God bless ya. Take care
Thank
of
you very
yourselves.
much, Carolyn.
Bye-bye.
When I'm live again, I'm going to try to do more. Now that we made this switch over, if I make it through this one, I'll feel more comfortable about the next one. But be sure to join us in another live as we go because we got to keep people
certainly
talking and
will.
keep people thinking. All right, thank you, Carolyn.
All right. Good night.
Let's continue
Yeah.
on and get as many people as we can get in here. Let's here's our little ray of sunshine, Miss Optimistic.
Hey,
How
girl.
you doing?
Mystic.
How's it going, Optimistic?
Oh, hey, you guys. This is so weird. It didn't come up at first. Okay.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
It's probably
up,
TikTok,
Optimistic?
Mike. TikTok
No,
is
she jumped out of the app. Optimistic. You jumped out of the app. We can't hear you.
or why are you waiting on there she is.
There she is.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I was wondering how you guys think the funding bill for DHS is going to go Friday. I don't
It's
think
not
it's
going
going
to
to
pass.
pass.
I don't think it's going to pass either, and we've got to make sure it doesn't pass. A statement has to be made. They can't pass something that's going to give DHS and ICE more money. You can't see what happened in Minneapolis and give them more money. The 6 people who voted for it in the House are already backstepping on what they did because they know they fucked up. I don't think it will pass, but I just hope the Democrats are strong enough to stay strong regardless of what it is. You know, people will always say, well, if we have a shutdown, it'll be tough on a lot of people. Well, it's already tough on a lot of people. And if you've got one bit of leverage, you need to fucking use it to the maximum ability. So I hope they do shut it down, and I hope they hold strong until we get some accommodations from the Republicans.
Well, I saw one today, Mike, that said that he wasn't on board with it. And that would be Fetterman, because he said he doesn't want to shut the government down over ICE.
Of course,
Well, fuck
of course
Fetterman.
it's Fetterman.
Well, one thing I think is going to hold up this bill passing the Senate. I don't know if you guys saw this. The House version put a provision in rolling back that other funding measure they passed. I don't remember if it was in the One Big Beautiful Bill or their funding measure back in November, where the senators, the Republican senators who had their phones seized, could claim $500,000 per grievance and make a whole
Right,
shit ton
right.
of money. The House bill for this funding bill takes that and gets rid of it and scraps it. I think some of the senators, the Republicans, are going to go against it just because they want to grift off the government like Donnie.
Well, let me ask you something, Eric, because I know it. The filibuster applies to some things and not other things. I think it doesn't apply to funding. Does the filibuster apply in this particular vote that's coming up in the Senate?
I think so. Because I think there is, from what I understand, is there
Excuse me.
certain things have new funding, like it's
Excuse
not
me.
continuing the same funding levels, like because they're changing funding levels, etc.
Yeah.
I think that's when the filibuster applies. Whereas they were able to pass the One Big Bullshit bill because they weren't passing any additional funding to anything. It was all either same level or lower. And I think that's where they were able to make the difference.
Okay.
Okay, Alice, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Can they just exclude the DHS from this bill?
They could.
And
They
okay,
could, but they're not. That's the whole purpose.
If they
Yeah, that
exclude,
is the whole purpose. But if
that
they
would
change
be,
it, doesn't it have to go back to the House?
yes. But if they exclude DHS, basically, then ICE and everything under DHS would be the only thing that would be facing a government shutdown, I think.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no, they still have funding from the One Big Beautiful Bill, so maybe not. But like,
Well,
I don't know how that would actually apply then.
Well, it's not going to, two things that it's not going to happen if we get a shutdown. It's not going to shut ICE because ICE has money. They want to give them extra money, as I understand it. The other thing, the problem with the shutdown last time is because of how it affected people with SNAP. If they shut the country down this time, it won't affect SNAP because of the deal they cut. So SNAP will not be affected if they shut the country down.
that's a good
Yeah,
point.
that's right.
That's a really good point.
So there's, the SNAP thing was the big issue when they shut it down. That was the most egregious thing about it. Now they don't have to worry about that at this point. Optimistic, given your name, given what's happened in Minneapolis, what do you have to be optimistic about lately?
I'm hoping that DHS will not get any more funding, and I'm hoping that our Supreme Court is like, this is illegal.
Oh, you lost me there, optimistic.
Really?
Our
I
Supreme
mean,
Court is so tainted right now.
but this is outrageous. This is insane what's going on.
It
It
is.
is. Do you think the Supreme Court gets to a point when they see the end of the Trump regime and they start trying to behave better? Do you think they do that, or they just fucking throw caution to the wind and don't care? I'm not sure what to think at this point.
I think it's going to be like a light switch, Mike. Like, you know, you turn the lights on and off. I think the second
Yeah.
he's out of the equation, they're going to go back to being a normal Supreme Court. That's just me.
But how do they sleep at night knowing that American citizens are being killed on our streets?
Yeah.
I
How do you
it's Clinton
sleep at
Farm,
night?
all the money.
With a check from Peter Thiel.
Or what's his name? What's the other one? The one that funds Thomas.
Yeah, his sugar daddy. I forgot his name, but yeah.
Did you
I know
call
what
him
you're
a
talking
sugar
about.
daddy?
The one that bought his mom's house or whatever, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, he owns Thomas's mother's house.
Oh,
Thomas's
yeah.
mother lived there for like 30 years rent free.
Yeah.
And he holds and has a lot of 1930s Germany paraphernalia in his house. I just can't think of the guy's name.
That's what I'm like. And
Yeah,
once you said that, I can't think of his name. What is his name? Oh gosh.
I don't
Well,
even
we
think
got
it
so many
matters.
fucked up people in this world. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep track of all of them.
But yeah, that's what I
Me
wanted
too.
to talk to you guys about.
Harlan Crow.
Arlen Crow,
That's it.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Go ahead, optimistic.
No. This I was just wondering about the bill being. I was like, this bill cannot be passed. DHS has to be excluded. And, this is outrageous. It's getting.
I
This is
think at
insane.
this point, if the Democrats do what they should do, they should just shut the country down, shut everything off, and don't open up anything unless they get rid of the DHS funding and also get the ACA subsidies. You might as well throw it all in there. If you're going to go in, you might as well go all in and just tell the Republicans this bitch is going to be shut down until you fucking do something. So we're going on vacation this time.
I second that. They have to have some kahunas at this point. It's out. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this,
That-
Mike. Hakeem Jeffries did more than a strongly worded letter today. He had a strongly worded video. So it's a step in the right
Oh.
direction.
What about Chuck?
Nothing from Chuck.
Oh,
Oh gosh.
Chuck the cuck. Yeah, he can't be trusted. I mean, I think if we want to get a different perception of the Democratic Party for as bad as their approval rating is, it's very simply done by getting rid of these worthless fucking leaders. Get strong leaders in there, then people will have a better perception of the Democrats, and then they can stop worrying about how nobody likes them.
Yeah. But thank you guys. That was my question. That's what I've been like, okay, how is this gonna pan out?
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, optimistic, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Good night, you guys.
Night,
See you,
Mystic.
Mystic.
Now that was optimist. Oh, you said mystic. You were just doing shorthand there.
Well, we're
I thought you were
neutrals, Mike,
talking
you
about-
know.
Yeah, I know. Let's pull up Howard, our local. Well, let's see if he's coming up. I hit Howard and I haven't seen him come up.
Mike, I saw a video
right.
today where Mom Donnie was in Minnesota today talking to one of the locals. That was pretty cool.
Oh wow, yeah. We got to keep Mondami out there and keep people in mind with the right kind of candidate as opposed to some of the bullshit we have to choose from in the Democratic Party. I'm going to pull up this person, see if she comes up. She doesn't come up. All right. I'm going to pull up one people. We're coming toward the end anyway. I'm going to pull up the one guy who I know will be there. And with any luck, we'll get through this motherfucker and I'll be able to use this for the podcast. Keep your fingers crossed. Here is British John. British John, what's up? What's on your mind today?
Well, good evening. Let me just change my volume. Let me just, sorry, let me mute the background. Someone's editing comedy videos. We're still trying to find some humor in this world. It's not a lot of it, but we are trying.
It's not easy.
The joke is in Jay's hand.
Well, I don't want to be. I want to be nice. Look, let's give him some slack tonight. There's been a lot going on. I was talking to him the other day. His mom actually went to Minneapolis to support the movement. She left early because someone told her that accountability was involved and she doesn't do crowds, parenting, or responsibility. But just
Yeah. Yeah, let's cut him some slack. How about
that's
that?
the nicest I can be, boys and girls. I can't be any nicer than that to Jay's mom.
Well, we appreciate the effort.
But here's what I will say tonight. If you want jokes, I recorded a audition set for late night. Can't tell you who. A couple of days ago, and I will be posting that video sometime in the next couple of days, and you can find it on my channel. I will tell you that I did it before Minneapolis, just for if anyone's watching and go, oh my God, that's a bit too soon. No, it was 4 days before. Okay, I was. I have said my new favorite joke is, I love this country. I have an American wife and an anchor baby. That used to be a joke. So would you like more ice in your drink, or would you like me to tell you at the back door? And then later on in the set, I say, I've lived here a while, but I'm still trying to understand the politics. As I understand it, half the country uses the flag as an emotional support blanket, and the other half is scared of frozen water. I mean, ice. No, don't run, sir. You're fine. Different joke, different time. And that joke's been going down pretty well. We may have to modify it.
Yeah, well, what do you thought after what happened in Minneapolis, as somebody who's been in the military and somebody who's aware of everything that's going on? I think it took a lot of people, I won't say by surprise, but it really put people back on their heels to watch what we watched and then have our government tell us the exact opposite of what they say happened. I mean, this is so blatant that our government is lying to us when we can see exactly what happened. What was your take on that?
George Orwell was right. Was what I was thinking. Let me get I'll get the quote in a few seconds. And the media is. Here's an interesting take. Look, we all saw two people executed. There's no other word for it.
Absolutely. One
deliberately, one stupidly, because these are not trained people. They're not. They're not.
They can't be.
It's not even the time in service, Mike, because some of them are cops that have stepped up, former sheriffs that did it. They have a level of, most of them have a level of training, and I can say that because you can see how they carry themselves. But the other side of how they're carrying themselves is unprofessionally. They're not there to protect and serve. They are there to serve,
Right.
to one person's mission, and you can see that. But what I can't believe I didn't see one of the videos. I did a video honoring Mr. Pretty. And this is when TikTok was having its special moments in the transition and, all the technical issues they had. Sometimes it's not a conspiracy theory. It really is just a fuck up. But this might be both. The images which the New York Times was publishing they were stills, but I didn't see any video footage that had that level of intensity. To see civilian police, or whatever you want to call ICE, technically they are police, I've been told, with grenade launchers I know it's just tear. I know it's just tear gas because now we're immune to it. But those aren't scenes you expect to see in America. I mean, we're talking.
Oh, hell no.
What, LA riots was the last time it was as bad as that?
Yeah, and there was nothing going on here before they came. The violence and the protest, there was nothing like that going on here until they came here and instigated it.
The quote, boys and girls, that I want every one of you, all 221 of you, to take to heart. George Orwell wrote this. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. That is what I was thinking, Mike, when I saw giant cross lady at the White House telling us that he was there to commit mass unaliving. And yet we had seen what had happened. The fact that the argument was the substantiated argument at the time was it 8 shots or 10?
Yeah,
that was the issue.
What difference does it make?
Well, that blew my mind. But we don't. To say this isn't America is sadly it is, and they're getting what they want, and they're trying to get as much done as they can because they know they're going to lose it in the midterms. And the question is how badly. I don't know if it does us any good or not, to keep going backwards and forwards on his health and the possibility they might use Section 2 to remove him from office. We know the Republicans are ruthless. We know they'll cut him loose if they think, they're going to lose too badly. We know they'll do that, but are they going to do it too badly?
Or will they wait till afterwards, after the midterms, to do it because he will have proven to be a total loss at that point?
No, would he want to be around? Would he want to be? Does he want to be a lame duck?
Either one of those is possible, but I'm thinking when the Republicans make that move, it's going to be a dog pile. Like when they know they have enough votes to remove him, it's going to be close to unanimous.
Oh, it'll be quick. It will be quick. It will be brutal. And the only people that will stand against it are those who have zero chance of re-election without the core MAGA base, not the Republican base, but the ne'er-do-wells, the intellectually inferior. I have lots of words at my disposal. I have to disappear. I haven't posted this to TikTok or anywhere else yet, actually, Mike. I was writing a stupid joke the other day. Sometimes a collection of words will just come into my head and I have to write it down. I know it's going to be a thing later. And I was doing a thing about women drivers. Don't worry, it's more sophisticated than it sounds. It was about losing. It was about why don't Americans, particularly ladies, use their indicators? It's because they've been losing rights. That was the premise of it. Okay, right. Okay.
Turn signals for Americans. It's turn signals.
Yeah. Thank you for translating. So anyway, I wrote down losing rights on a piece of paper, and at some point in the middle of the night, I sat upright, absolutely sat upright. And some of you are probably familiar with Dylan Thomas, the poet. And so this is not a parody. This is an homage, if you will, to those of Minneapolis. Do not go quiet into this night. Stand tall against the thunder's lie. Rage, rage against the fading of our rights. Through news feeds blur and headlines bite, though officials cloak the truth in fear, do not go quiet into this night. Remember Renee, her morning light, a mother, citizen, shot to death. Rage, rage against the fading of our rights. Remember Alex, phone held upright, a healer felled where courage stood. Do not go quiet into this night. Not with indifference, nor silent respite, not by shrugging at the cost of life. Rage, rage against the fading of our rights. Let truth not slip from weary sight. Let every witness voice and cry. Do not go quiet into this night. Rage, rage against the fading of our rights. So,
Well, it's nice to see, being it's my home state, that people of Minnesota have taken that advice. They're not going quiet into the night. They're making a stand, and I think Lawrence O'Donnell made this statement. He did something similar to what you did, not that, but he basically said that protesters always win. It may not happen as quickly as we like. The protesters always win. They ended the Vietnam War. They fought for civil rights and for women's rights and that sort of thing. And I'm proud of Minnesota for, having something like this happen. Instead of hiding in their homes, 75,000 people come out in the street and said, fuck you.
Yeah, that reminds me of what British John just said. Reminds me a lot about a song I wrote a few years ago. And it's a little bit different, but it's in the same vein. And the lyrics are, don't turn away. There may be no tomorrow. Today is a day where the workers unite. Don't turn away. Don't save it for another time. We're marching today, defending our rights. And that is the same. That message is the same, whether it's standing up for workers or standing up against tyranny. It all encompasses those things.
it is.
Well, that's basically the core of who Americans are supposed to be. So it's nice to see that at least some Americans understand that we're going to fight till it's done, or till we're gone, one way or another. That's where we're at.
You're 1,000% right, Mike. 1,000%. In the saying that, though, you have to remember that these people that wear red hats, it's not that they're not Americans. It's not that they're un-American. It's that they were forgotten for a long time. And that doesn't change the situation. It's not going to change it in the future. They're not going to go away. These people lost hope. They didn't have their quarter acre and their white picket fence and whatever the American dream is meant. It wasn't for them, and it's not for their kids either, for the most part. That's why we see so many young people, the Rogan kids, as people call them. And that issue isn't going to go away. It's going to get worse because AI is going to make it harder for these youngsters to find what I would call a family starting role. We have to embrace that reality that the Democrats are going to have to campaign and promise and commit to more than just, we're not Republicans, we're not ICE. They have to have a sustainable program for investing in America without raising the debt, I'm afraid, because that generation that's been fucked over is also the one that's going to have to pay for it. So at some point, someone's going to have a really big boy conversation about, do we need a $1.3 trillion military when we're up against our biggest rival is at $330 billion at China, and the other one is Russia, and they can't feed their people. So at some point we're going to have to. I know we want to give the money to Raytheon and to Boeing and all the other important people, but a government that can't take care of the first duty of the government is to defend its people and to feed its people. The third is to fucking educate them and invest in them. I'm British John. I'm campaigning for office. Oh, fuck that. I've got too much shit to do. I'm too busy.
Hey, Mike, I got a question for you.
You can't keep them down if you educate them, though. So.
Well, I can.
Go ahead,
It's just about you use words long enough.
So I know you're getting ready to close the show down, but it's something that we didn't talk about that I think is important. Right before we got on, the governor of Ohio came on and said that he's bracing his city for ICE once the Haitian refugee status is stripped away. So they're coming to Ohio, and it's probably going to be as bad as Minnesota.
I'm looking forward to them going to Philadelphia. That should be interesting.
I encourage them to go to Philadelphia.
Can I just say that if you haven't Googled, ladies and gentlemen, go and Google the words Philadelphia and Bill Burr. Okay, BILLBURR.
I saw that entire thing. It was hilarious.
The video quality, this was 15 years ago, people. This was probably recorded on a Nokia, okay? Or maybe even a camera. I know, what a crazy idea. The video is horrible. The quality is horrible. It doesn't matter. You listen to this man single-handedly, like a solitary Spartan, take on the totality of Philadelphia for 12 and a half minutes. It is beautiful. It is eloquent. It is violent. It is visceral. And to have that level of energy reflected upon the federal government. I may only have been doing this for 19 weeks as an American, but I fucking support that. I will never say go Eagles.
No, I will never either. But I'll root them on if they do what I think they will do. When
if you do it right, Philadelphia, I will pay for new lampposts. I know how you like to use them. Okay, that's.
Eli Manning said when he played in Philadelphia as a Giants quarterback, he had 9-year-olds giving him the double bird.
Yeah.
I just realized what I said. People of Philadelphia, please only use your lampposts for proper purposes. I just realized what you might have taken me to mean on that one. No, don't do that. Yeah. Okay.
Or you can.
If it looks like Somalia, no.
I can tell you this: if you go to an Eagles game wearing an opposing team's jersey, you better watch out.
Yeah,
you're gonna.
No shit.
Well, I was warned about that because apparently in the old days they used to throw coins, but they're so poor they can't afford it now. Sorry, just.
All right, we're going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast and the TikTok Live here. Thanks to you all for joining us, Rebecca, Trucker T, TJ, Analytical Iowan, British John, and everybody else that joined us on. It's always a pleasure to talk to a bunch of folks and get some different perspectives and different insights. For those of you listening to the podcast, thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day. We will talk to you again tomorrow.